Hi, Scene Recaps here. Today I'm going to explain a film called Gladiator Recap. Today I'm going to explain a historical fiction film called Gladiator. One jealous son is about to steal an empire, but the man he fails to kill will come back through the sand of the arena and make all of Rome remember his name. The movie begins in the frozen forests of Germania, where General Maximus Decimus Meridius studies the enemy lines like a farmer reading the weather. He is tired, filthy, and far from home, but every soldier around him waits for his signal. Maximus commands Rome's northern army for Emperor Marcus Aurelius, and the campaign is nearly over. The enemy refuses surrender, so Maximus prepares one final push. He reminds his men to stay together, to face death with courage, and to understand that their choices will outlive them. Then the forest erupts. Fire arcs over the battlefield. Arrows fall, cavalry charges, and the Roman army crushes the last resistance. When the smoke clears, Rome has won, but Maximus looks less like a conqueror than a man counting the cost. After the victory, Commodus and his sister Lucilla arrive at the front. Commodus expects his dying father to name him heir, and he is already dreaming of public games and applause. Lucilla sees more clearly. She knows their father's summons means something serious. Marcus Aurelius greets Maximus with deep affection and offers him any reward. Maximus wants only one thing: to return to his farm in Spain, to his wife, his young son, and the harvest he has missed for years. Commodus arrives too late for the war and tries to charm everyone, but Marcus gives the credit to Maximus. In one quiet gesture, the emperor shows the camp who he truly respects. That humiliation lodges inside Commodus like a splinter. Around the camp, senators test Maximus with politics, asking whether he stands with the emperor or the Senate. Maximus avoids their traps because he is a soldier, not a schemer. Commodus privately tries to recruit him, complaining that senators talk and deceive while men of command act. Maximus politely refuses, saying he plans to go home when Marcus releases him. Commodus smiles, but he hears disloyalty. He also mentions Lucilla, reminding Maximus that the emperor's daughter once cared for him. In this camp, every friendship has become dangerous, and every silence can be used as evidence. Marcus then speaks with Lucilla, not as emperor and princess, but as a father who knows he failed his children. He says she would have made a strong ruler, then asks for help with Commodus. Lucilla understands immediately that her brother is unstable, wounded by envy, and desperate to be loved. Marcus is not only dying, he is trying to save Rome from his own bloodline. Later, Marcus summons Maximus and shows him a map of the empire he built through decades of war. Instead of pride, he feels regret. He fears Rome has become corrupt, hollow, and controlled by men who care more for power than virtue. Marcus tells Maximus he wants him to become protector of Rome after his death, holding authority only long enough to return power to the people and restore the Senate. Maximus is stunned. He has never even lived in Rome, and he wants no throne, no office, no legend. But Marcus chooses him precisely because he is not corrupted by the city. He believes Commodus lacks the moral strength to rule, and he calls Maximus the son he wishes he had. Maximus asks for time, but his heart is already trapped between duty and home. Lucilla meets Maximus outside and senses that Marcus asked him for something larger than a farewell. Their history hangs between them, tender and painful. She asks if he will serve Commodus as he served Marcus, and Maximus answers that he will serve Rome. That answer tells her enough. That night, Maximus prays to his ancestors for guidance and asks them to guard his wife and son until he can hold them again. Even before the betrayal, his soul is already walking the road home. Meanwhile, Marcus finally tells Commodus the truth. He will not be emperor. Authority will pass to Maximus until Rome can become a republic again. Commodus breaks apart. He lists the virtues his father admired and admits he never saw himself in them. Beneath the ambition is a child begging for one warm embrace. Marcus tries to comfort him, but it is too late. Commodus' need turns into rage, and in that private tent, the old emperor dies at the hands of the son he rejected. Commodus calls Maximus and announces that Marcus is dead. He asks for loyalty and offers his hand, but Maximus studies the room and understands what has happened. He refuses the gesture, and that single refusal signs his death warrant. Quintus, once his fellow officer, obeys the new Caesar and has Maximus arrested. Maximus asks only that his family be protected, but Commodus has already moved against them. Taken into the woods for execution, Maximus uses the moment before death to fight back. Wounded and desperate, he escapes the Praetorians and rides across the empire toward Spain. His mind repeats memories of home, his boy, and Marcus' impossible request. By the time he reaches his farm, he is too late. His family is gone, and his home has been destroyed. Maximus collapses among the ruins, not as Rome's greatest general, but as a husband and father with nothing left to defend. Slave traders find him barely alive and drag him into a new world. In the provinces, a former gladiator named Proximo buys Maximus along with other prisoners, including Juba, a Numidian warrior. Proximo is blunt about his business. He profits from men dying in front of crowds. Maximus, now called the Spaniard, refuses to perform during training. He has lost his rank, his family, and even his name, but he has not lost the instincts that made armies follow him. Juba becomes his quiet friend, tending his wounds and speaking gently about the afterlife. Maximus admits his wife and son are already waiting for him, but Juba reminds him that he does not have to join them yet. In the first arena fights, Maximus moves with grim efficiency. He does not play to the crowd. He simply survives. Proximo notices that the Spaniard wins without caring whether anyone cheers. He warns him that Rome does not want a butcher. It wants a hero. If Maximus wants freedom, he must learn to command the crowd the way he once commanded soldiers. Maximus answers in action. After one brutal provincial match, he turns on the spectators with disgust, forcing them to confront what they came to enjoy. Instead of rejecting him, they chant for him. Proximo sees a fortune forming in front of his eyes. Commodus, now emperor, enters Rome as if returning from conquest, though he has won nothing but a throne. The senators greet him carefully, especially Gracchus, who worries about the city's real problems: disease, sanitation, and hunger. Commodus has no patience for governing. He believes the people need love, spectacle, and a vision of greatness, not lectures from old men. Lucilla tries to temper him, but he sees the Senate as an obstacle and the mob as his family. To secure their affection, Commodus announces months of games in the Colosseum. Gracchus understands the strategy immediately. Keep the people amazed, afraid, and entertained, and they may not notice their freedoms disappearing. Proximo receives the call to bring his fighters to Rome. He tells Maximus about the Colosseum, where 50,000 people can raise a man higher than any emperor if they love him enough. Proximo once won his own freedom there when Marcus Aurelius touched his shoulder with a wooden sword. Maximus realizes the arena might give him the one chance he wants, to stand close enough to Commodus. During the journey to Rome, Maximus and Juba speak about home. Juba misses his wife and daughters, while Maximus lives with the ache of knowing his family is beyond this world. Their friendship gives Maximus a reason to remain alive, at least long enough to finish what Commodus began. When the gladiators enter Rome, the Colosseum towers over them like a mountain built for blood. Juba can barely believe men created such a place. Maximus remembers Proximo's advice when the crowd. At the palace, Commodus becomes more controlling and erratic. He leans on Lucilla for comfort in ways that frighten her, and he talks about dissolving the Senate while pretending it is love for the people. At the same time, Lucilla meets secretly with senators who fear him. They discover he is paying for endless games by selling Rome's grain reserves, sacrificing the future to buy applause today. Some want to strike immediately, but Gracchus warns that the Praetorians hold the steel and the people still adore Commodus. For now, they must wait and prepare. Maximus' first appearance in the Colosseum is staged as a historical massacre, with his group cast as doomed barbarians. But the moment the gates open, Maximus becomes a general again. He asks who has served in the army, orders the men into formations, and turns frightened slaves into a unit. Against chariots, arrows, and trained fighters, they lock shields, protect one another, and reverse the spectacle. The crowd roars because the expected victims have rewritten the story. Commodus is fascinated and annoyed. The reenactment was supposed to end one way, but the Spaniard has given Rome a surprise. He comes down to meet this masked champion, while Lucilla watches with growing dread. Commodus praises him and asks for his name. Maximus tries to hide behind his gladiator identity, but when the emperor demands obedience, he removes his helmet. In front of the entire Colosseum, Maximus reveals himself as the former general who served Marcus Aurelius, a husband and father wronged by Commodus, and a man who intends to have justice. Commodus orders his guards forward, but the crowd demands that Maximus live. In that instant, the slave becomes untouchable. Commodus cannot kill him without angering the people whose love he needs. As the crowd chants Maximus' name, Commodus realizes his deadliest enemy has returned with an audience. Back in the palace, Commodus fumes. Lucilla claims she felt nothing when she saw Maximus, but he senses every lie now. He punishes officers connected to Maximus' escape and forces Quintus to prove loyalty through obedience. Commodus believes respect can be manufactured through fear. Instead, every act makes him smaller. Lucilla visits Maximus in secret. He blames her for what happened to his family, but she insists she knew nothing and has been trapped in fear since her father died. Her own son, Lucius, is heir to the throne, and that makes him a hostage to Commodus' moods. She tells Maximus that the mob is Rome, and his power over them may be the only force strong enough to challenge her brother. Maximus resists because he is still a prisoner, but Lucilla offers to connect him with Gracchus. She sees that the man Marcus trusted is not truly gone. He is buried under grief. Commodus responds to Maximus' popularity by arranging a grand duel against Tigris of Gaul, a legendary undefeated fighter. The arena becomes a trap with hidden dangers and a roaring crowd hungry for a finish. Maximus fights carefully, survives the setup, and defeats Tigris. Then Commodus signals for death, expecting Maximus to obey the theater of cruelty. Maximus refuses to kill a beaten opponent. The crowd explodes for his mercy, giving him a new title in their hearts. Commodus is cornered again. If he kills Maximus, he creates a martyr. If he lets him live, Maximus grows larger. After the match, Commodus approaches Maximus and tries to make them seem alike, both men who take life when necessary. Maximus answers that he has only one more life to take. Commodus tries to provoke him with cruel words about his family, but Maximus does not break. He simply warns that Commodus' time of pretending to be honorable is running out. Nearby, Maximus spots Cicero, his loyal servant from the army, and learns his old troops are camped at Ostia. Hope returns with military precision. If Maximus can escape Rome, the legions may rally to him. Commodus senses the net around him and orders every senator watched. Lucilla helps Cicero deliver a message. Maximus will meet Gracchus. In the cell, Gracchus comes face to face with the general the Senate once hoped for. Maximus asks him to buy his freedom, smuggle him outside the city, and prepare horses to Ostia. Within 2 days, he believes he can return with thousands of loyal soldiers. Gracchus fears replacing one dictatorship with another, but Maximus promises he will give Rome back to the people, because that was Marcus Aurelius' final wish. Gracchus chooses to trust him. Proximo, however, is harder to convince. He is an entertainer, and Commodus makes him rich. Maximus appeals to the memory of Marcus, the emperor who once freed Proximo. Before Proximo can decide, Praetorians arrive, showing how close Commodus' spies already are. Lucilla visits Maximus and tells him the plan must happen that night, because Gracchus has been arrested. She has risked everything, not only for Rome, but because she still loves the man Maximus used to be. For one brief moment, the prison cell becomes a place of honesty. Then she leaves to protect her son. Commodus discovers the conspiracy through Lucius, who innocently repeats that Maximus is seen as Rome's savior. Commodus corners Lucilla with a story about betrayal and threatens the people she loves most. He does not need her loyalty anymore. He needs her obedience. The escape begins at midnight. Proximo opens the way and gives Maximus a chance, finally honoring the freedom Marcus once gave him. The gladiators choose to stand with Maximus, not because they expect to live, but because he has made them feel like men again. As Praetorians break in, Proximo and the fighters hold the line long enough for Maximus to run. The price is heavy. Proximo falls with his old wisdom about dust and shadows hanging over him, and Cicero is killed before Maximus can reach the horses. Maximus is captured, and the rebellion is crushed before it can leave the city. Commodus now has Maximus in chains, but he still cannot win the people's hearts honestly. So he writes the ending like theater. He will fight Maximus in the arena himself, emperor against gladiator, and give Rome a famous death. Before the duel, Commodus secretly wounds Maximus and has the injury hidden under armor. He needs the appearance of courage without the risk of a fair fight. In the Colosseum, the crowd waits for legend. Maximus enters weak but upright, while Commodus steps into the sand dressed as the heroic ruler he wishes he were. The duel begins slowly, with Maximus fighting through pain and Commodus trying to turn advantage into glory. When Commodus loses control and calls for a sword, Quintus finally refuses to serve as cowardice. The guards sheathe their weapons, leaving the emperor alone with the man he destroyed. Maximus finds the last strength in his body and ends Commodus' reign in front of Rome. The victory costs him everything. As he collapses, Maximus gives final orders: free his men, restore Gracchus, and carry out Marcus Aurelius' dream of Rome. Lucilla tells him Lucius is safe, and that is the last piece he needs. In his fading vision, Maximus walks through the fields toward his home, where his wife and son wait for him. This time, the gate opens. Lucilla asks whether Rome is worth one good man's life, then challenges the people to believe in that dream again. She calls Maximus a soldier of Rome and asks others to help carry him. Juba later buries Maximus' small figures of his family in the arena's sand and promises they will meet again, but not yet. And that is the tragedy and triumph of Maximus. He loses his world, refuses to lose his honor, and turns a place built for death into the doorway home. If this recap marched you all the way from Germania to the Colosseum, honor Maximus in the comments with the name of the character you would follow into the arena. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.